So in this video we'll go over what is big data. So first we'll go over some definition, then the characteristics, we'll be giving some examples, and then we'll go over some of the benefits. So as a definition, big data is a collection of large data sets that can be processed using traditional computing techniques. It is not a single technique or a tool, rather it has become a complete subject which involves various tools, techniques and frameworks. And two of these frameworks could be Spark and Hadoop, and these two frameworks has various techniques. One of these techniques is, for example, we have a big data set. Then we could divide this data set. For example, we take 10% of the data set and then we put it into one computer. We take another 10% of the data set, we put it into a second computer. We take another 10%, put it into a third computer. Then we can do this until we have taken up 100% of the data into 10 different computers. And for example, we want to do some analyzing task. We, for example, take the sum of something. And for example, then we could, each of these computers that store 10% could just do this task on this 10%. So that means that we will do it 10 times faster because we have 10 computers. And that's just one of the new techniques that we could do with Spark or Hadoop. And this is different from the traditional computing techniques. For example, one of the traditional ways of how we handle data was just to have it in a relational database. And then you would just have one database and then you would perform like one query on this. And then it would be a single computer. You wouldn't have 10 computers because the data wouldn't be divided, basically. And when you're working with big data, if the data is very large, then it cannot be done on a single computer. Then oftentimes, then it will be big data. So that's one definition to keep in mind. But there are others who use these 3 V's. So for example, they look at the volume. Like the data we're working with, is the volume, is it big? Is the velocity high? For example, is the rate of data coming into the database, is it constant? Is constantly coming something into the database? Is the velocity high? Okay. And then is the variety high? Like, is there both structured and unstructured data? Do we, for example, have names of users? We have usernames, the birth date. Then maybe we have unstructured, we maybe have videos, we maybe have images, we maybe have music, media files, or maybe some text as well. Is there a big variety? Are all of these 3 fulfilled? Then it's most likely big data, if they're all high, that is. There could be some exception in variety. For example, if it's not varied data, but maybe the volume is high, velocity high, maybe it can't handle on a single computer, well, maybe it's big data still. So if we give some example, if we look at social media, we have Facebook, for example. They have billions of users. That means they have more than well, it's not ensured that they have more than 1 billion posts, but they have a lot more than 1 billion posts or something in that range. That means that volume is very high. There will be different comments, different files and so on. That means that the volume is high. When they make posts, they make comments, then it means that it continues information to the database. That means that the velocity is high. We know that the volume is high because there are a lot of people. What about the variety? Well, there's text data, there's media files, there, for example, is user information. Do you have the age of the person? You have their names and so on. What posts they liked. So all of the 3 V's are fulfilled, but also from the first definition, we know it can't be done on traditional computing techniques because it can't be done on a single computer. You need to use these new techniques with Spark and Hadoop, where you, for example, divide data into a lot of computers, not just 10, but a lot more, I can say. Then, for example, you maybe have stock exchange data. There's some data on how many that sell or buy stuff of different stocks. Then you will have the volume high, be continuous information that comes in because the data from different stocks are updated all the time. The variety, well, it might be quite the same always, but because the volume and the velocity is high, and from the first definition, you probably can't use it on a single computer. Then it's big data. Maybe you have some, and then a third one, maybe we have some transport data. Maybe in the US there is some transportation system that monitors all the cars. Maybe there are some sensors on the cars that continuously send information. And because it's in the US, there are a lot of cars. Let me go over the others a little bit faster. We have search engine data. For example, you have Google, just imagine all of the different websites that could come up. You have, for example, e-commerce, you have Amazon. They sell 4,000 items per minute, approximately. And yeah, the volume is high, continuous information from the users and so on. There are different file types, variety is high. What are the benefits of big data? Well, you can make better decisions. You're making the decisions on data that is able to be analyzed. And that's partly because of these new techniques that we're able to analyze these big, vast amounts of data because we divide the data. And then you will find new products and services, because when we analyze the data, we'll find that, oh, maybe this product is missing, maybe this is what the users would like, and so on. You, for example, also will have recommendation systems. In Amazon, you can see that, oh, those that buy or look at these free items oftentimes decide to buy these other free items. So then maybe you have a recommendation box to recommend certain items. Also done by analyzing these vast amounts of data. So if we have a conclusion, if it's not on a single computer, then it would be a traditional way of computing. Then it's not big data. You preferably would have the freebies as high. You have some benefits in decision making. You could find new products, and you, for example, have recommendation systems and many more. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed the video, leave a comment, or if you would like me to do something else different or better for that matter. Yeah, leave a comment, like, subscribe, and see you next time.